Hi everyone, continuing the tradition of making videos from weird places. I wanted to make a video. This is going to sound strange, perhaps not to Saw Mister, because she may have heard me talk about this before, but I want to talk about zombies, actually. And believe it or not, there's such a thing as philosophical zombies, and these are relevant to us currently. And I want to try and explain how. It's not the easiest thing in the world to explain, but it comes down to what is really the main thing that science doesn't explain. And this is going to be useful later on when we talk about, can science prove spirituality? And I actually, most of the ways we try and do that, I think don't work, actually. But the one place where this gets interesting is in this question of zombies. So anything that we can say about our experience, like anything that we can feel. Looking at the sunset in the essay question. I look at the sunset and I have a feeling. And now, nobody except me knows I'm having that feeling. In fact, nobody can know exactly what I'm feeling, right? That's my experience. It's not possible to know. But you could, in fact, you could do a brain scan and you could measure parts of my brain that were being activated, and you say, oh, when people watch sunsets, this part of people's brain gets activated, and we can assume that they're having this kind of experience. That doesn't explain anything. It doesn't tell you, it can never convey that feeling itself, right? But nevertheless, the scientists might think that that's been sort of explained, that feeling is explained. It's merely activation in a certain part of the brain, and who knows why that happens, but maybe it happens for evolutionary reasons. We don't know. But it seems to me, and to many actually, particularly a philosopher called David Chalmers, that the one thing that you can't explain is the fact that we're aware of having the feeling. You see what I mean, right? I see the color red, I see things around me, and I'm aware that I'm seeing red. So I'm aware that I'm seeing the sunset, I'm aware I'm having a particular feeling. There's awareness of having this feeling. It's not merely electrochemistry in my brain. That's not all that's going on. In addition to that, there's this awareness that I'm feeling the feeling I get when I watch the sunset. I'm aware of it. Okay, this is what we call awareness or consciousness, and scientists have not been able to locate that in brain. In fact, they never will be able to locate that in brain. Most of the top scientists have given up trying to locate consciousness in the brain, and coming up with other theories about it. And here's where the zombies go in. So one can imagine that, let's talk in terms of a robot instead of a zombie. Same concept, actually. An extremely well-programmed, sophisticated robot could replicate all of our responses and reactions to things, right? If you programmed it well enough, and studied humans well enough, you could write all the software and program this android, and it could appear like it was human. But the one thing that would be missing from it would be this awareness that it exists. Right? It would merely be doing these actions, responding when someone speaks to it, accessing that database, responding, this would all be simply software running. But there would be no actual awareness there that it existed. There wouldn't be awareness of itself. Wouldn't be there, right? And so the only person that actually that has this is you. Because if you meet someone like me, like this could be a robot or a zombie talking to you. You don't know that I have self-awareness, that I have this sort of sense that I exist, this awareness of existing. You don't know I have that. I could be a zombie, right? This is where philosophical zombies came in, and it's called, in neuroscience, it's called the hard problem, right? Which is that you can explain the brain's response to various stimuli, like seeing colors or being pricked, the feeling of pain. You can explain, you can measure and say, well, the brain responds to these things. But the one thing you can't ever touch or explain is the awareness of having that experience, that there's an entity that is aware of having this experience. You can't touch that. And so how do we explain this consciousness, this awareness? And they call it the hard problem, because all of these other problems, like how does the brain work with respect to various different kinds of stimuli or whatever, actually none of those are solved. But they're actually easy problems compared to this one. It's like, how, if the brain indeed produces strange noise, if the brain indeed produces consciousness or awareness, how does it do it? Well, it's completely inexplicable at this point in time. And if you think deeply about it, you'll realize why, that it actually is not possible. And so a lot of top neuroscientists start to treat awareness and consciousness as something fundamentally different, like a fundamental property of the universe kind of thing. And the reason for that is you can't create it, you can't imagine how to create it from matter, right? This thing is that you are aware that you exist, right? This is Descartes. I think, therefore I am. What he's really saying, Descartes, is he knows he exists. The one thing he can't doubt is this awareness that he exists. No matter how the outer world can fool him, Descartes, right? He could be fooled by all kinds of things, but the one thing he can't be fooled about is this sense that he exists. And so, in other words, he's aware that he's not a zombie, he's not a robot, Descartes in this case. Well, this is the same, this is the hard problem, essentially. It's like everybody, all humans presumably they have this awareness that there exists, particularly if they're spiritual practitioners, but it feels like something to exist. It feels like something. There's some kind of experience going on. So the existence of experience is the most mysterious thing in the universe, actually. And it's right in front of our faces. It's right in front of our faces. It's completely unexplained by science, right? So, and this is why you don't need quantum theory or any kind of science, I don't know what this sounds, to prove spirituality. You don't need it, because you've got the most mysterious thing in the universe staring you right in the face, which is your own awareness, your own sense that you exist. I am. I think, therefore I am. You have this. There is no science known to mankind that can explain this, and nor will there ever be, in my estimation. So it's the most mysterious thing. This awareness, right? So that actually isn't a thing. You see what I mean? The more you if you meditate and you go into awareness, you realize it is the thing that makes things, right? The creator of things is this consciousness, this awareness. So it's not a thing itself. It is fundamental. It's fundamental. You can't really even speak of it as an it. You can't speak of it objectively. I'm speaking through consciousness right now. There's no way to get out of it, because consciousness is basically, one could say, perhaps all there is. And so I wanted to tell you about this, the philosophical zombies, this idea that comes out of philosophy, and David Chalmers particularly, because it's a problem that's not been addressed or answered. And they call it the hard problem for a reason. They actually probably should call it the impossible problem. And it's very relevant to us in this science and spirituality class, the hard problem is, because it takes it out of, in a way, it sort of takes it out of the hand of science, because this is the one thing, the one place you can't go with science is into awareness, consciousness. You can't get there from the material. You just can't. Awareness is the thing that has created science. So it would be circular, right? So if science then it said it could explain awareness, but it can't. You can't get between materiality and awareness. You just can't do it. If you think about that, now we can talk about this more, but that's just not possible. So it's you don't have to look to the cosmos. You don't have to look to quantum theory. You don't have to look to experiments on psi phenomena. You don't have to look to any of these things to come up with the main thing that basically tells you that science is not everything. And this is it. This is what we're talking about. It's the main thing. And then within, of course, this awareness, all experience happens. Experience is happening to it's known that experience is happening. You're not just robots, right? It's known that experience is happening. It's known that you feel this great, wonderful, expansive feeling when you watch the sunset. You know the feeling of the experience of love. You know these experiences. There's awareness of all of these things. It can't be explained. It's not even close. Not even touching it. It can't be touched at this point, or I don't believe at any point. So this is the main reason why you have to say that science is, and actually it's interesting because you're starting to get neuroscientists who are talking a bit like this, and I can give you quotes from certain top neuroscientists on this issue. But so to look outside for proof of spirituality, the inside is kind of, can you see that's like going to the wrong place to get proof of this, because you're already in the thing that proves that there's spirit, there's more than just material. You're already in it, and it's right under our noses, of course, and we look around but don't see it. So and this is a very significant thing, and I want to keep talking about this if you feel like you're not really getting it, because it's an absolutely fundamental point. And all of you guys who are aware and spiritual people, you're people who are delving into consciousness and awareness in a much deeper way, and so you should be particularly aware of this aspect of life that is not amenable to objectification. Essentially, it's just not. And it's pretty straightforward, actually. It's just, but I remember when I first thought of this, I was just like, geez, is that right? I could hardly get it into my head. But the more time's gone on, the clearer and clearer that's become, and it's clear to some philosophers and some scientists at this point too. I'm happy to talk about this more if you want to. And so, second video for this week, and there may be more. Okay.